welcome to Devil's Advocate. I'm Ben, I'm joined by my housemate Shawn.
Hello.
For another chat, well, he thinks he can get the better of me.
Oh, I'm gonna. I'm coming for war.
Why?
Only one will leave.
Fucking Team Samurai Boy over here. Okay, today we're going to talk about the soul. What is it?
Not soul music.
Not soul music, although I've nothing against soul music.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's okay. You know, what is it? Is it a thing?
First, we should probably cover the religious aspect of it, just so we can throw that out the window. Because both of us agree we don't see any religious sort of side of it. We don't think there's an afterlife, so we should probably cover the religious sort of side of it and then go into what we think.
Yeah.
Do you want
So
to
let's
cover
talk.
that?
Oh, we'll start with Christianity because that's the one we grew up in.
Yeah, well, it's the one we know the most
And
about.
I think most of the Abrahamic religions agree that your soul is what goes to the afterlife. This is just a physical shell.
Yeah.
Your soul is the main thing inside you. That's got your experiences, your memories, your good deeds and bad.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that'll pop up to wherever you think you're going to go.
Yeah, it's your feelings, your emotions.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's your immortal life, isn't it?
Yes.
So there's your physical life, which dies, and then they believe, well, even not Christianity, most religions have their own version of heaven, hell, or something, some sort of afterlife. Even the Buddhists have reincarnation, don't
Nirvana.
they?
Is it when you get to Nirvana it all stops?
Yeah,
Like,
so it's...
you are the maximum level you can be.
Yeah, you keep reincarnating till you enlighten, don't you? So
Yeah.
if you're a bit of a shithead, then you reincarnate as something shit.
Yeah.
Like a dung beetle.
Yeah.
And then you can't try and be the best dung beetle you can be.
Rolling that dung around.
You be the best dung beetle you can be.
And then you might get to be a rat.
Yeah, and then you can move your way up to human. And
Again.
Yeah,
But you're not aware of that, are you?
I think it's pretty audacious to think that humans top of the top, to be fair.
Well, yeah, I'd rather be a dolphin.
Yeah. Dolphins are pretty cool.
They've got a bigger brain than us. They communicate with each other. They've got names for each other.
Plus, how many dolphins do you think are actually dicks?
Well, not many.
Yeah, that's probably top of the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're like, you're dolphin, then you go to Nirvana.
Do you want to hear a really sad story about a dolphin?
Go on then.
Do you remember Flipper?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The last dolphin to play Flipper
Yeah.
killed itself.
Really?
Yeah.
Suicide?
It swam into It swam into the trainer's arms.
Yeah.
And just went above the surface and suffocated itself.
Jeez, that's nearly as bad as...
Or went below the surface and suffocated itself. Yeah, either way, it killed itself.
That's an awful story.
It is. Don't bring that one up at a party.
Nearly as bad as the Never-Ending Story one where the horse dies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did the sand pit thing, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it was like trying to pull... The kid was trying to pull the horse out. And it was meant to sink down, and then this machine would then bring it up, but it got clogged with the sand.
Oh.
And the horse just basically died. Suffocation, I guess, or inhaling sand.
Suffocation.
Drowning in watery sand.
Drowning in sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's tragic. That's why I'll never watch that movie War Horse.
Why?
Because I don't want to see the horse die.
Yeah. Watching animals die is tough.
I don't want to watch any film where animals are dying.
Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah.
But anyway, we both agree 100% that we don't think that a soul exists in the way that it's immortal and we're going to heaven or hell, or we don't think there's an afterlife.
No, but
so
obviously your views may differ.
Yeah, so we don't think that the soul is immortal. That's our yeah. Just to make that clear, that is our opinion. No, that's just what we think, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's where at that point we agree, but before that we diverge, don't we?
Absolutely.
So you don't think there's a soul, I do, and that's what we're going to debate, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you want to go first, or?
Yeah, well, I think that we're just meat bags.
Meat bags.
We're just
Sacks of
We're
meat.
just sacks of meat walking around trying to do the best we
The
can.
best we can every day.
And if, I don't think you gain plus points if you're a good boy. I don't think you gain bad points. I don't think you minus points if you're a bad boy or girl.
Well, that's like a more religious thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I just don't see it. If you're saying there's this spark of energy that's going to keep going,
Yeah.
then that breaks one of the laws of thermodynamics. It says that
Yeah.
energy is not immortal, basically. It will eventually dissipate.
Yeah, but energy becomes something else, doesn't it? Energy doesn't like dissipate. It goes from one thing to another.
It can't just stop.
I'm pretty sure energy just becomes something new, doesn't it?
No, you can't have perpetual motion, can you?
No, but it becomes something new. So like water can become steam,
That's
So-
transcending. That's a chemical change.
Yeah, that's a chemical change, but that's just something I was trying to use as an example so that it made sense. But
Water can be ice, it can be steam, it
yeah,
can be water.
yeah. So like, and that goes for energy. It just becomes something new. Everything that exists is energy, and it just becomes something new.
Well, that sofa's not energy. That's just a combination of atoms arranged into a comfortable shape.
Yeah, but atoms are energy, aren't they?
Only if you split them.
It's a form of it, though, isn't it?
It's the building block of the universe.
Yeah.
Is the atom.
Yeah. So it just becomes something new. Yeah? Like when you split an atom, it becomes something new.
It becomes a massive explosion.
Yeah. So it becomes
Or cheap, powerful nuclear energy, completely safe.
completely safe. So it becomes something new. So it's not exactly like it dissipates. It just becomes something else.
No, you just die, you get put in the ground, and that's it. It's game over, man.
Yeah, but even if you're talking physically, then when you die, you become one with the soil. Or even if you're cremated, your ash gets spreaded somewhere, so you become ash. So you just become something new. And that's just physical. That's not even talking about if a soul exists, if there's an energy. Because my belief is that your soul is basically an energy source that once you die, it then just becomes one with the universe again. It was one with the universe before, and it's not through some sort of cosmic design. It's just that bit of energy was plucked out of the universe, it was thrown into your body, and you became conscious, and then when you die, it dissipates and goes back into the universe. Becomes one with the universe again.
You got any proof for that?
That I don't need proof.
Why not?
Because you don't need proof. It's a belief system, isn't it? You don't
Faith.
need proof. Huh?
It's faith.
Yeah, but like science is a faith to you. It's not proven.
Of course it is.
See, I found an article for you by a reputable scientist to prove you wrong.
If this is anything like that reputable scientist that was saying that alien DNA makes medicine, and that
Alien DNA.
and that what was it? Any sort of diseases you have down.
Read this out.
Right. Okay. Forbes.
This is a reputable scientist getting interviewed.
There's no such thing as proof in the scientific world. There's only evidence. So, what do you think is the most counterintuitive yet relevant result in physics? It's not a result; it's an output of a physical experiment. So there is no such thing as proof, apparently.
Yeah, it's just evidence.
Yeah. Okay.
So all you have is a belief system in evidence, but you don't have proof. And you can read the whole thing and it goes into detail on that. This guy's like a physicist.
Yeah, it's like he says he cannot prove to us that electrons exist, but because enough people have realised, well, hang on, there must be something doing that, so that must be an electron.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
So that's just a belief system.
But then again,
You can't prove it. It's just there's evidence. Yeah, there's evidence.
So where's your evidence for the...
I don't need it.
Well, why not?
Because
you're saying to me, hey, you can't prove anything, it's all evidence. All right, then show me your evidence.
Okay, so what I'm saying is when we have the evidence for something that leads us to believe that possibly something may be true, because that's all science is. It's the belief system that we have enough evidence that we believe it's true until proven otherwise. Correct? Yeah? So we're both in agreement with that. So basically, when we have the science to prove something, or prove the evidence of it even, we then can do it. The science isn't there yet, so I can't prove it yet. Or I can't give you evidence for it yet. But for a long time we believed the earth was flat until we had the means to prove otherwise. We couldn't
They figured that out in the ancient Greek world.
Yeah, but before that, did they know it? No, they didn't, because
I doubt they didn't give much thought.
Yeah, because science is always evolving. It's like gravity. When was gravity proven?
Well, it's Newton in the 1600s.
So what did we believe before then?
Well, no one knew. It was just,
there you go.
I mean, technically, you can't prove gravity.
No, you can't. You can't.
Someone says, show me gravity. Well, I can't show you gravity, but I can drop this thing on the floor and it'll fall.
Science can't even prove that how a bicycle works. I was literally reading an article yesterday that science cannot prove how a bicycle works.
Well, it's to do with the momentum going forwards, keeps you upright.
I'll send you the article. They've disproven that. They don't understand the physics behind a bicycle and how it works.
Get a penny farthing back.
The idea is, as we adapt as society, our science is getting better and we are able to accumulate more evidence. The technology isn't currently there to prove whether or not there's a soul. So just as you can't unprove it, I can't prove it. But what I can do is give you my thoughts and ideas on why I believe it, and then people can listen to me and think if I make more sense than you. Because your argument is prove it. My argument is I'm going to give evidence to why I think it's true.
Right. Well, there's a guy who did try.
Okay, yeah, you've spoke about him.
Duncan McDougall, who was a physician from Haverhill, Massachusetts. This is 1901.
Yeah.
And he decided to scientifically determine if a soul had weight.
Okay. That's just ridiculous. It wouldn't have weight, would it?
So he identified...
It's energy.
Yeah, well, he identified 6 patients in nursing homes whose deaths were imminent.
Yeah.
4 were suffering from tuberculosis, 1 from diabetes, and 1 from unspecified causes.
Yeah.
He specifically chose people who were suffering from conditions that caused physical exhaustion, as he needed the patients to remain still when they died to measure them accurately.
That's ridiculous.
When the patients looked like they were close to death, their entire bed was placed on an industrial-sized scale that was sensitive within 0.2 of an ounce. It's 5.6 grams.
So what is that meant to be like? If your soul's heavy, you have a strong soul. If your soul's light,
well,
you have a weak soul.
So on the belief that humans have souls and animals do not.
I disagree with that. I think animals have a soul as well.
He measured the change in weight from 15 dogs after death.
Mm-hmm.
Said he wished to use dogs that were sick or dying for experiments, although was unable to find any. Oh man, it's therefore presumed he poisoned healthy dogs.
Oh, that's dark.
What a twat.
Yeah, sounds it.
Yeah. So, the results...
That sounds ridiculous. I can't imagine why... the soul, basically, in my opinion, is just a collection of your thoughts, feelings, emotions, what makes up you. Why would that have weight?
Well, it's 1901. Maybe he's just like, hey, let's have a go.
Why would it? That's like me saying, if I think hard enough, you'll be thrown out of that window.
You could try it.
There's no weight to it. There's not going to be a weight to it. It's just an energy.
Trying to be telekinetic? No.
There's not going to be a weight to it, is there? That's ridiculous.
Well, no, this is 1901, and people's scientific understanding is slowly...
Yeah.
Becoming more aware. I mean, the problem is a lot of people back then were very religious. So well, maybe if I can prove that there's a soul in the body, then therefore God is real, and boom, 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 boom.
I don't see how there's a connection between the soul. I understand that for a long time those two went hand in hand. The soul meant afterlife, and it meant God. So everyone's thinking, if you can prove a soul, you can prove God exists.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous. I think that the universe is made up of something that... We don't even know how big the universe is. We can't measure it.
No, it's infinite.
Yeah. Well, we think it's infinite. We can't prove that it's infinite. We can't prove it's an end or not because we can't go there.
Yeah.
So there's no proof yet. There's speculation that could be infinite. There's speculation that there might be an end to it. We don't know. But
I volunteer myself for the mission
to go to the end,
to the edge of the universe.
The edge of the universe. Yeah. I think you'll go on forever.
I was cryogenically freeze myself in the ship.
I think it's infinite. I don't think that there's an end to it.
And I'll be like. They'll wake me up every 10 years and be like, oh man, what's going on? Oh, still going through space,
You'd have to live for like 1,000 years, though, still, even if they froze you.
You know, I'd have a fag, have a beer, get back in the cryo sleep thing.
I think with all that energy in the universe, that it just makes sense for, if life needs to be created, it's just plucked from somewhere. And not by some cosmic creation, it's just pulled from there. Just like forces, literally, it's just pulled down and you're just, your life.
Yeah.
And that's literally it. And then you become life, you have thoughts, you have conscious thoughts, and then when you die, that energy just goes somewhere else. Whether it stay on Earth or it go back into space, it goes somewhere.
Well, maybe
you're just dust on the Milky Way.
Well, we're all stardust.
Yeah.
We're all made of stardust.
Right, so my first argument...
Right, hang on, let me get this guy. He says that patients lost 3/4 of an ounce, which is 21 grams.
Yeah.
So that's what he reckons. He thinks they weigh 21 grams.
Yeah.
However, after the time of death, there's a sudden rise in body temperatures. The lungs are no longer cooling blood.
Yeah.
Which causes a subsequent rise in sweating, which could account for the missing 21 grams.
Yeah.
It was also pointed out that dogs do not have sweat glands, so they would not lose weight in this manner after death.
Yeah.
So his whole thing is just fucking flawed.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I don't like the fact he was killing dogs.
No. You're like, he's a bastard, which means everyone that believes in the soul is a bastard.
I mean, if that's his but that's how strong his belief is. He's got to go and kill something to fucking prove it.
Yeah,
then
it's like
I'm not interested in his beliefs.
It's like which scientist was the one that electrocuted an elephant?
Oh, that was Edison.
Just to see how many volts it would take to kill an elephant.
Yeah, Edison. I mean, he was a massive twat.
Yeah, he was.
And I think this was so we're talking around the turn of the 20th century.
Yeah.
We've got all of a sudden electricity. All of a sudden we can do autopsies because the church isn't interfering, saying, "Oh, you can't cut up that body."
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden we've got this massive expanse in knowledge and engineering.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, right, what's this thing with electricity? What should we do with that? Let's electrocute an elephant. And you're like, well, I mean, they were doing experiments with like animating the muscles of corpses.
Yeah, to see what would move.
You know, they were making them smile and gurn and all this, and it's just like, it was like, I don't know, like the island of Dr. Moreau. Somebody went on somewhere.
It's almost like, how far will you go for science? And sometimes it doesn't even make sense.
No.
The experiments, what's the point in them? When are we going to need to take down elephants in mass? Sort of
With
Yeah,
electricity.
with electricity. When is that ever going to be needed? It's not, is it?
No.
Right. So I start with my first one.
Go on then.
I'll start with my weakest argument first because I feel like you're going to try and pick this one apart. But cloning.
Right.
Okay. So when they clone two animals,
Yeah.
and this has been proven lots, when you clone them, they should be, if by your theory that we're just meat bags, an exact replica.
Biologically.
But they're not. It's been proven that they have their own feelings, they act differently, their own personalities.
But that's nature and nurture.
And they often look different.
How can they look different? They're a clone.
Exactly. How can they look different? Because they're an individual. Because they have a soul.
Oh, God.
Often, you can Google it now, or I'll wait.
Alright.
Often in cloning, they look differently and they have their own personality traits.
I'm not buying that.
Because the second they are created, whether they are created using the same DNA, the same clone, they have their own soul. So they are their own individual being. If they were a clone of the same being, they'd look exactly the same every time, and they wouldn't have a different personality.
Right.
Right.
So, they are not identical in appearance, but they are genetically identical.
So that only proves that genetically you can clone someone. It doesn't prove that you can clone them on a fundamental level, like on an emotional level, on a mental level, which means that kind of argues my point of the possibly being a soul.
The environment also plays a big role in how the organism turns out.
It would play a slight role, but it's not like they're going to evolve, are they? It's not like they've got hundreds of years to evolve. So if they've got different colours, different kind, like colour of fur, markings, that's almost like it's its own separate entity. That, to me, would say there's a soul. Can you refute that?
Yeah, I can put it down to the environment.
I don't think
the environment the animal's brought up in.
Often they kind of have them in a similar environment, though, don't they, to the original clone? If they don't have them in the same environment, they're not going to have a massive change, though, are they?
Yeah, all right, but so this
like
clone, we'll say it's a sheep.
It's like when you take two twins and they grow up in different areas. They tend to still identical twins. One might get a little fatter. That's understandable if one has a poorer diet. But identical twins tend to stay the same. Even non-identical ones, they don't really differ that much from the way they looked from when they were separated. They still kind of look very similar.
And there are all those tales of identical twins meeting up and finding they were both wearing the same clothes.
Yeah.
And they both married women called Debbie.
Yeah, because
kind of thing.
Because they're connected. Their energy is connected. It was an energy that was split. You kind of just helped me with my argument there a little bit. Shall I move on? Because you helped my argument then. You should have stayed quiet.
I think environment is a massive thing. We'll stick with animals because no one's cloned a human that we know of.
That we know of, but I mean China, they probably give it a go.
Yeah, I'd imagine that they have.
Yeah.
But let's say that we don't know animals.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that Dolly the sheep is there trotting around and we clone Dolly.
Yeah.
Dolly 2 pops out.
Yeah.
Because she's a baby. Now, what if someone, I don't know, trips over Dolly the baby?
Yeah.
And then that will, by accident, was something that never happened to Dolly 1.
Yeah.
So therefore Dolly 2 is now like a bit more wary of humans than Dolly 1.
Yeah.
Because that's happened.
Yeah, but that's happened afterwards. Their traits are similar from birth.
Well, no, because
you're talking about a dolly that's like could be 6 months, 12 months, 2 years.
A baby
3 years.
dolly.
Yeah.
They don't clone them fully grown. They clone them as babies. They come as they are.
Yeah, but their personalities are similar at the beginning, from the beginning. But what you're talking about is environmental factors much, much further on the line.
Well, it could be instant.
Instant.
She could pop out and then all of a sudden someone trips over
The
it.
baby wouldn't remember that though.
Maybe. I don't know how animal brains work for that.
Usually stuff like that, like they wouldn't remember. It's those sort of things are usually after a few years after their brain is fully developed.
Well, there's still environmental factors.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's why I said this was my weakest argument. Environmental factors will definitely play a part, but I honestly think that it's worth mentioning that you should, when you clone something, by your sort of scientific thought process, they should be identical in every way.
But they're not.
They should look the same. They should be like a robot essentially.
Well,
completely like you could put a mirror down and they'd look the same. They like completely act the same, but that they become their own individuals.
Yeah. Well,
over time.
I just read an article about the cloning the animals.
Yeah.
And they'll make cats.
Yeah.
The baby cat that was cloned from the mother.
Yeah.
Had a different coat.
Yeah.
Different coloured coat.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because of variations in the chromosomes.
Yeah.
So there's still some variation.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the soul. I just don't see it. Go on, give me your next argument.
Okay, my next weakest one is Shaolin monks. Okay, so
I'm not messing with Shaolin monks. Whatever they want, whatever they want to say, I'll accept.
Right. So the Shaolin monks obviously believe in a soul, and
yeah.
and they obviously believe in chi, don't they? Channeling of chi.
An iron fist.
Yeah. So channeling of chi, for anyone that's not familiar with martial arts or chi, or is it chi or chakra? I can't remember. I think it's chi with the Shaolin monks. But anyway, it's their energy, their life force, which they've meditated for long periods of time throughout their life, and they believe that they can control this energy that's part of their soul and manipulate it. And you can't refute the fact that although this might be a total lot of bollocks, I've seen them live, they are able to do things that human beings shouldn't be able to do. I watched one of them take a long sharp dagger, slice a watermelon through like it was paper, and then slit his friend's stomach and throat, and neither time did it cut. I even watched the guy pick the blade up himself and ram it into his throat. He went bang like that as hard as he could, not a drop of blood. You cannot train here.
How many dudes do you think went through? How many guys do you think they went through before in the trial stage of that experiment?
Unless there was some sort of sleight of hand I didn't see in person, where they
never trust a monk.
But a lot of them were on stage and they were on the floor and they just picked them up off the floor and used them, and they were passing them from each other hand to hand. So I can't imagine they're shirtless. They just wear those shorts. I can't see where they were hiding the blades. So, and I've seen one with literally a guy holding a spear.
Yeah.
They got somebody onto the stage to poke the spear. They poked it and actually drew blood, which isn't cool really. You shouldn't ask somebody to just get on the stage and poke the tip of a spear if it's going to cause injury.
Yeah, because they could have AIDS.
Exactly. They then ram the spear into the guy. They then give it to the person on the stage. He rams the spear into the guy in his stomach. And yeah, with the argument of that, you could say he's got great abs, but I don't think it would stop a spear.
If the abs are strong enough.
Yeah, he does ab day every day. And it is because he thinks that he has channeled his energy and he can control the energy, he can control his soul, he can control his being, therefore he can use it to protect himself.
Well, why aren't we sending these guys to sort stuff out across the world?
Because I would imagine there's a limit to it.
Well, if you can stop a spear, you can stop a bullet.
I doubt that.
Why aren't we sending our top special forces guys off to go and train in Shaolin temples to make their body master their chi, and we create a super warrior monk?
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah,
let's get on that. My theory on this is they can control the energy, and because they can control the energy, they believe that they can do something, and because they believe they can do it, they can do it.
So, but that's belief over.
Yeah. And my argument for that actually goes into one of my other points in... Have you heard of the double slit experiment? Have you heard of that? I know. Have you heard of that?
Isn't that something to do with multiverses?
It's where it's where they watch the... I forgot what it's called now. I was meant to read the article out to you, but I can't bother to get it up.
My sex tape.
They monitor this sort of... This particle, we'll call it. And it goes through one slit, and then it goes through another.
Yes, and it looks
And then-
slightly different.
Yeah, and then when they don't monitor it, it changes its mind and does something different.
Yes.
But when they look again, it goes back to originally what they wanted it to do. And it's almost like we are manipulating what it does because that's what we want the outcome to be. And it's almost like if the soul's there and there's an energy there, how far can we take it?
Well, I don't know, let's split someone open and see what happens.
The fact that we can manipulate that to happen is pretty incredible, and it makes you think that maybe we're not the only ones that can do that. The bee, for example, he should not be, or she should not be able to fly.
Don't assume that bee's gender.
I know, yeah. Sorry, bee community.
The LGB.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna get so many hate mail for that. But it flies.
Yeah.
How can it fly? Science can't prove it, yet it flies because it has mastered its energy.
A bee is not mastered. Bees. There's not a load of bees in the hive doing martial arts meditation before going out and flying, mate.
No.
I'm sure someone would have seen that.
No.
Unless it's like, oh wait, the beekeeper's here. Everyone look busy. Oh shit.
No, it's they're there just doing kung fu.
Yeah, they're all like sort of doing their old Tai Chi, and then like the beekeeper comes in, lifts it,
Yeah.
and look, everyone scatter! Oh shit, honey.
Let's make it look like we're doing bee things.
Yeah, bee things. Everyone do bee things.
Buzz, buzz, buzz. Quit talking, Jerry. You'll get on to us. No, but it's almost like certain species have mastered this, like the bee, and maybe it's in them from birth. But I think that human beings have not fully mastered their potential, and I think they get that potential from some sort of energy.
So let's say that. All right.
Which is why I
let's
think-
say that this nonsense about bees having mastered their chi without realising.
That was your words, not mine.
Um,
I said they mastered their energy.
Right.
I honestly believe that one day we could evolve to the point where we could be espers, where we could have psychic abilities. I think that is quite likely to be the next stage of evolution, and it might take 1,000 years or 500 years. And if technology doesn't get in the way first,
Maybe we don't kill ourselves as a species.
yeah, then that would be the next sort of evolutionary step. And I believe it will do that because we're just going to master that energy better.
I know what you're referring to, the pineal gland or pineal gland
Yes,
in the brain.
yes.
Now the idea is that we'd all be so much more spiritually awakened if it wasn't for the effects of the modern world on our
Yes.
pineal glands. So,
Yes.
for example, some theorists will tell you, and I'm going to use the term theorists very lightly, the calcium in the water, the fluoride in the water,
Yeah.
calcifies your pineal gland, stops you using it.
Yeah.
Mobile phones, Wi-Fi, things like that, block the pineal gland, and it's
Yeah.
all a massive plan by the reptilian overlords who really run the
The
world
reptilian
to
overlords.
stop mankind reaching its psychic potential and becoming a threat to them.
You always find a way to bring those reptilian overlords in, don't you? Every time. Every time. But yeah, there's no reason why. So with the Shaolin monk argument, my point is they've found a way to inwardly and input control their energy. They can control the energy within. So there's nothing saying that because they've mastered that and they're able to do things like bend steel bars around their head, like 2-inch thick steel bars.
Oh, they just ripped.
Most
Maybe that steel was
Olympic powerlifters can't do that.
that steel bar could have been weakened.
And these Shaolin monks are like 60, 70 kilos.
That steel bar could have been heated and weakened. You don't know.
They do it in front of reporters. They get reporters to test it, and they can't do it.
And then a bit of sleight of hand. Then, oh, look over there. Look at our beautiful temple. Quick, Bob, swap him over.
They're just passing over like a 2-foot bar.
Yeah, look at that temple over there. Isn't it nice?
But yeah, just because there's that input of energy, my thought process is, why not in the next few hundred years we don't find a way to output that energy, thus being able to control things with our mind.
Soul fire.
Yeah, well, it would just be telekinesis, wouldn't it?
No, I want to literally spew fire from my chest.
From your chest.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be fire. It'd just be like moving things.
Oh.
With your mind.
No.
Yeah, probably not like a flamethrower.
Oh. Well, now I'm not interested.
Not interested.
Fuck the chi.
Right,
I'll keep on calcifying my pineal gland.
Shall I
thank you
move
very
on to
much.
my next point?
Go on then.
Right, my next point is there was a scientist, I can't remember his name, I can send you the article because I know you're not going to believe it, me, and you're going to try tearing this apart. He studied a woman that had a severe brain injury. They said that she would never remember who she was, she would never regain her memories, she has complete amnesia. That was it for her. So his fear was, in this sort of study, because he studied her for a few months or years, I can't remember, was that she would never regain who she was.
Right.
But the people that knew her before, that obviously was helping rehabilitate her, spending time with her, said that she still, even though she didn't remember who she was or who they were, fundamentally she still acted and still had the funny quirks that she had before.
What, like a nervous twitch?
She still would try and make jokes to cheer people up. She'd smile all the time. She would still do the same things, and she'd still have the same sort of personality she had before. She wasn't sad and depressed before, like about her injury or not being able to remember. She was happy and cheerful, and everyone said she was always happy and cheerful and always looking for the brighter side of life.
Okay, well, she ain't got one at the minute.
Yeah, but she was almost, other than her not being able to...
That's all right, but that's obviously affected a different portion of her brain. She's damaged the bit that affects memory.
Yeah.
The bit that maintains her personality is completely different.
Yes, but surely it would be affected.
Well, not if she's had severe brain damage to her memory. Then her personality could be absolutely fine. The bit that controls her personality could be awesome.
If your short-term and long-term memory is damaged, then it would affect who you are as a person, surely.
No, I think the brain would just it'd be like rebooting, wouldn't it? It's like, quick, run basic program.
But they've said that she's never going to remember who she was.
Well,
so that means
she'll have to carry around some kind of bit of paper then, won't she?
So she's just acting that way.
Because that's her default. That's her brain, the undamaged parts of her brain are going, this is how we act, this is what we do.
But surely...
She doesn't remember that.
But sure, this was a scientific article I was reading about the soul. And surely, if it was damaging her memory and who she believes to be, that would affect her personality. If you woke up and you didn't remember who you were, surely that would upset you.
That happens to me every morning.
Surely that would upset you, that would traumatise you. And
no, because you wouldn't know who you were, so you'd just be like, oh, who the fuck am I?
So why does she still act cheerful and
Some people are just
carefree?
Naturally cheerful and carefree.
Yeah, but where does that come from?
Well, your personality, the nature nurture.
Or maybe it comes from your soul, because...
Maybe it does, but it's unlikely.
Maybe the personality is more so ingrained in the soul.
So what is it? The soul is this big ball of energy in you,
it's all within you. It's all within you, and it's what makes up your personality, your thoughts, your feelings, the whole thing.
That's
thoughts,
in the brain.
Feelings, emotions. Yeah. But why can't it be in both at the same time?
Because it's too hippie.
it's
medical science is not exact. I mean, doctors are wrong all the time.
Yeah. Why is it too hippie though? Is it too hippie because you can't understand it, or because you don't want to believe it?
Energy swirling around. It's like so fucking wooey. It's unreal.
It's more scientific than hippie, really, because it's like
wooey. It's woo.
Well, when you watch science fiction movies and stuff, they talk about that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, but that's a science fiction movie. The fiction part gives that away.
Yeah, but they've literally said anything that you can think of, one day we'll probably be able to make.
Yeah. So what about if we go
fiction
briefly delving into sci-fi?
So fiction is only fiction until it's not.
Altered carbon, then. So they've destroyed their own soul.
Yeah.
Is that the way you come away with it?
Well, Altered Carbon proves that if you watch the show, because literally one of the guys says about the soul, and he says, each time I come back, it's still me, but I feel like I'm losing a piece of myself. Because he's losing a piece of his soul. He leaves each time he transfers from body to body, he leaves a piece of himself behind.
Oh.
Because when you take it out, it's just a piece of your soul leaving, and it's going into the next body. By that thought process, if altered carbon becomes a thing, don't get me wrong, I'd probably still do it, but I do think that that's not you. It's just a copy of you.
I'll take the copy.
But it's not you, and you can prove that as well, because if you were to say create two of you, copy the copy,
yeah,
and then so you die, and I put everything on the chip, and I put it in your neck, and I download everything that makes you before you die. Then you die, I take it out and I put it in a new copy, but I didn't realise somebody else took a copy of it at the same time, so we got two Ben copies. We put them both in. Neither of them are the real Ben. Ben died. Ben's gone. Ben's soul is gone. These are new Bens. They have new life. They're new people. They just have the memory.
Make sure you put me in someone that's ripped. Yeah?
They just have the memories of Ben. They remember Ben's past, his life, but they're not Ben. Ben's gone. They're Ben 1 and Ben 2, or Ben 2 and Ben 3.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Because the original Ben died. He's gone.
Yes, but
Because are you gonna? Which one would you say is the real Ben at that point?
whichever one's most handsome.
Whichever one's the one. You'd say that the Ben is the guy that's lay on the table. He's dead.
Well, I guess so. That is a point, and
Because
there is a copy of a copy of a copy, and I suppose
Yeah.
if you keep copying something on a computer,
Yeah.
eventually that file will begin to degrade.
Yeah. And that's all it is because you're just going to keep copying and copying and copying, but it's not you. You're gone. That's just an exact replica of you. And they literally, a spoiler alert for if you do want to watch it, they do that, and he actually fights a version of himself in season 2, and literally his copy says that exact thing. He's like, neither of us are Takeshi, we're both just copies.
Yeah. And then he went off and had a castle.
Yeah, he's like, Takeshi died a long time ago.
I guess so.
And that's my argument, is that person is you, and once you're gone, you're gone.
There's a spark that's you.
Yeah.
Is that what he says? Inside there's some sort of a, maybe it's not an energy, well, maybe it's not some spiritual energy that's going to go back into the universe.
I don't think it's spiritual, I think it's cosmic.
Maybe, well, alright, some cosmic energy inside
I think it's to do with space.
Maybe it's, you know, the only way I'm going to sort of kind of agree with this is if it's like an electrical spark inside you.
Yeah, I don't think
bioelectricity, which obviously keeps the heart in rhythm.
By no means do I think it's religious. I don't think it's religious. I don't think it's spiritual. I think that it is just something in space that just gets plucked down from space at random. It falls into a body, literally to get it moving. There's a philosopher, I can't remember his name. I was reading a few of them the other day, and he literally says the soul is just the thing to animate the body. It's just the thing to, it's like
the spark.
Yeah, it's the thing to animate the body. It's the thing that moves it around. Once it's dead, it's gone.
And I mean, we all have met some very, let's say, dull people who don't seem to have that spark.
Yeah.
So are they soulless?
No.
Are they just generally crappy people?
I don't think...
Maybe they're not aware enough to have that spark?
I think everything has a soul. I just think that not all souls are equal, because not all energies are equal, are they?
Yeah.
Not all... Like, if you go to one nuclear reactor on the planet and you go to another one, you measure them, there'd probably be a slight difference, wouldn't there?
Well, probably.
Yeah, because they're not...
I wouldn't go with a Russian one, though.
No. But they're not all the same, yeah? Not everything is created equal, because it's at random, isn't it? I think we can both agree with that. Things are at random. I'm not the same build as you. We're not the same height. It's all random.
My penis is bigger.
If you say so. Feel the need to state that a lot. Feels like you're compensating. But that's what I think. I think it's just energy that's plucked out. It's plucked down from the universe. Nobody plucks it down. It just kind of maybe it's floating around in the universe, in the sky, in the air, anywhere, and it just falls into that life. It breathes like breath into that life. It's there for a while, it becomes sentient, it becomes conscious, then it dies and it just floats about again.
So does that mean that once energy is released back into the cosmos, are you suggesting, does that energy maintain any sort of identity?
No.
So it's just boom.
Gone. It's just energy again.
You're just a flesh sack laying on a morgue table, and whatever spark that was animating you, be that the bioelectricity inside you has stopped, or whatever, this energy has just gone whoop.
Yeah, and it's just gone, and it's just energy again. It has no thought, it has no feeling. It could land in the earth and become one with the soil. It could land. I said this as a joke yesterday, didn't I? It's the Lion King effect.
Lion King effect, copyright.
It becomes one with the grass, and then the antelope eat the grass. No, it literally can become anything. It just float, and like if it landed in a human baby just before the baby's born, it can become that. But it doesn't remember. All these people, I had a past life. Fair enough if that's what you think. I'm not going to slate your beliefs.
I will.
But I know you will. But I don't agree with that. It's just energy. It's just energy that's just fell into the next living creature. It could be the grass. It could be a bee. It could be anything that's alive.
All them bees doing Tai Chi.
All those Tai Chi bees. Ninjutsu bees. Yeah. Assassin bees. Ooh. You're just there having a beer, then all of a sudden you're just like,
but then the bee would kill itself.
It's got me. Kamikaze bee.
Kamikaze assassin bees.
I think that's all my points.
Alright, well I'm going to say that this is, I mean, yeah, the universe is energy. Mm-hmm. There's a massive amount of energy in the universe that we're not even aware of.
I was reading something really cool the other day, and
Was it Warhammer?
No.
No.
It's not really related to the soul, but I thought it was worth dropping in because I was reading it while I was reading up the soul stuff. There's four major sort of forces in the universe. Gravity's the weakest one.
Yeah.
All the other forces...
Or the strongest.
All the other forces...
Gravity is both.
Yeah, all the other forces could have easily sort of got rid of gravity and we could just float into space.
No.
But it's not going anywhere.
There's two types of gravity.
Yeah.
There's gravity A and gravity B.
Yeah.
Gravity B is the one we have on Earth.
Yeah.
Where it's weak, we can break it by jumping up in the air.
Yeah.
Right? Gravity A is the stuff that holds the nucleus of atoms together.
Yeah.
It keeps them on their little path around the nucleus, the electrons, the positrons, whatever the hell they are. I've forgotten, it's been a long time since secondary school physics.
Yeah.
That's like the strongest gravity there is.
Yeah.
Obviously when you split that's why you get the energy, that vast amount of energy being released.
Yeah.
Now if every atom didn't have that gravity, then everything would just be colliding into each other and stuff would be on fire, probably.
Yeah.
So there's gravity,
Yeah.
So,
No, it's fine. Yeah, but the thing I read, I didn't read the whole article, but it just mentioned about how four major sort of forces, and apparently gravity in this article is the weakest one, and yet it still exists. No, like usually when there's a force, it's like that saying, isn't it? When an immovable object hits.
You mean like when Hulk Hogan fought Andre the Giant?
Yeah.
The unstoppable force meeting the immovable object.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, the immovable object got his fucking ass slammed.
You think if there was three? It says in the
R.I.P.D. Andre.
You think that like the article said about the other forces that they would just get rid of gravity? Like, why does gravity persist? We can't prove it yet. It persists. Why isn't it?
Well, I hope it persists, because otherwise they're all going to float up into the sky.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool that it does exist, and we take it for granted. Yet at any time it could just stop.
Great! Now you've given me something else to worry about. Oh man,
walking
nuclear
down
war, rise of fascism, gravity stopping.
Yeah, you're just walking down. Yeah, but we take it for granted, don't we? That gravity.
I don't take gravity for granted. I'm fully appreciative of gravity.
Every day you walk outside to kiss the pavement. You're like, thank you, gravity.
Thanks, gravity. Every day I don't wake up on the ceiling. Thanks, gravity.
Hey. Landing on the ceiling is a good option. If you're outside, you're fucked. I'd rather land on the ceiling. I'd rather get concussion and hit the ceiling.
I just like wake up and like, oh, I'm hovering above the bed again.
Yeah.
Have I been possessed again? Oh no, gravity stopped working.
Well, yeah, I just think that's really cool how.
If I've been possessed again, you look to the corner and there's just a demon sat there reading the paper. Nothing to do with me, pal.
It's not me.
Not me this time.
Not this time. I think it's really cool how there's something such a force exists that we believe it exists anyway, and there's evidence to prove that it exists. So as scientific men, we will say it does exist, for argument's sake. I think it's cool that force exists and we take it for granted, but it's like it's been around a long time since human history.
Well, that's how planets formed.
Yeah,
and the gravity of bigger rocks pulling in the smaller ones.
Yeah, and because the universe is always constantly changing, I think it's incredible that it never just all of a sudden says, you know what, I've decided gravity's gonna stop. Fuck you all. You're all getting off of this train today.
Oh, it's like Independence Day 2 when the Queen's ship that comes to Earth is so fucking big it takes out our gravity in places.
Jeez.
People are just like floating up into the sky because it's so big it creates its own gravitational field. Yeah. Good movie.
How cool would it be if there was a god? Well, it wouldn't be cool, but
you'd be very
it'd
unhappy.
Be funny if there was a god. And we literally started messing around with gravity, and he just went, you know what? Fuck it. If you're going to mess around with gravity, I'm just going to turn it off.
Yeah, and there's a switch.
He just hits a switch, and we just go, fuck.
Well, he's a vengeful god. He says it himself.
He is. But yeah, I know I'm not going to change your thought process on this. I honestly think that it does exist, and the great thing about this debate and this belief is it honestly doesn't matter if it does or doesn't, because my thought and my belief is that once we're dead, we don't remember anyway. We don't carry on. It's not, the soul isn't immortal. I don't think the soul's immortal. I think the energy is immortal. I don't think what makes us is immortal. I think we're backpacking on it. And once it moves on, we fall off. We're gone. We disappear. So it does. So dumped. So essentially, based on my theory, it honestly doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong, because if you're right or if I'm right, it doesn't matter because we both have the same end.
I'll have you know my end is like a crack pipe.
He's on about his penis again. He's got to add that in at least 3 times. It's in his contract.
That's what I do.
It's 3 times. You got to mention your penis 3 times in a podcast, and 1 time the lizard man.
Yeah.
That's in your contract.
I've got a contract.
Yeah. You're like, right, penis. Shit, I forgot the lizard men. Lizard men love my penis. Yes, I got 4 penises that time. Name your sex tape.
Hey. Yeah. All right then. So I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Did any of my points hit?
No.
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 You can understand the theory behind it.
I understand what you're saying. I like the idea that there is like the universe is an untapped well of energy.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a universe that runs parallel to ours, and that's where all the emotion goes.
Yeah, that's
like
pretty cool.
Like the warp in Warhammer.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I forgot you got to add in 5 times Warhammer as well.
And the warp is where it's fueled by human emotion and deeds.
That's quite a cool theory.
And when you, in that universe, when you do die, that's where your soul ends up going.
Yeah.
Unless there's some evidence that the Emperor provides an afterlife, but who knows? So that's maybe that. There is obviously an untapped, massive amount of energy. I mean, dark matter, for example, would be the most powerful source of energy in the universe.
Yeah.
But we can't see it.
No. Yeah.
Because it's black.
Yeah.
And space is dark. Well, space isn't dark.
That's the thing, actually. I'll send you that article, that one that was on about science, because it's really interesting. He does go on to kind of explain about how science is just a collection of evidence. And there's one thing I was reading about dark matter, and it's like, we can't understand why. I can't remember if it's why we have so much or why we have so little.
It should be like a ton of it. There should be loads of it, but we just don't know where it is.
Yeah.
We can't see it.
Yeah, and it's almost like, is that because we'll never understand, or because we just haven't collected enough evidence yet to make up our own opinions?
Someone's got to get a sample of it.
Yeah.
And that can be done using, I think they've been trying to do stuff like that when the Large Hadron Collider does work.
Yeah.
And in smaller versions.
Yeah.
I think they've been sort of playing around with that. The problem is with dark matter is if it touched matter, the both of them being completely opposite, you'd have a massive explosion.
Yeah.
And that's not so good.
And hopefully not like a black hole.
Well, who knows? I mean, I firmly maintain that everything has gone tits up since they turned on the Large Hadron Collider.
It has.
It's almost like we got pulled into a parallel universe without us realising it.
Why didn't we go into a better one? Why did we get one with freaking locusts, bushfires, pandemics,
Nazis? Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Donald Trump as president.
Or
Boris Johnson.
Oh God.
We are in like we're in like the Twilight Zone.
We're in like there's like there's this point they're like which bit? Well, there's 2 parallel universes. Go left. Okay, and we ended up in the fucking shitty one. Yeah. It's like do it again for God's sake. No wonder it's broke.
But yeah, that's the great thing. I really love science, and that's the great thing about it. It is basically a bunch of the most intelligent minds on our planet coming together, doing research on a topic that they enjoy, and then they put all their thoughts together and they're like, right, what do most of us believe, and what sort of does the evidence kind of imply might be true? And then they go, yeah, that's good. And then they keep working on it. They don't just stop. They're like, that's probably the right answer, but we don't know for certain, so let's keep working on it and see if we can get any more information. And that's why science is always adapting. And that was kind of the point of that article that I showed you, is don't think that you should always solidify your beliefs, because science
science is constantly changing.
Yeah, it's always constantly changing, and it is just, you can never prove anything. You can just give enough evidence to kind of proclaim that may be the truth. And that's why I am definitely a man of science. I'm not a man of religion at all. But that's why...
I'm spiritually void.
That's why I like the idea of the soul, because we can prove that energy exists. We can prove different types of energy exist. Why not the soul?
Well, I don't know. Let's jab a needle into someone and try and withdraw it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could say that about a lot of things. It's like you say, oh, well, we can't yet measure it, so it doesn't exist, but we can't yet measure the depth of a black hole.
Well, no, we're going to go into one first.
Exactly, and I don't want to be the one that goes into a black hole.
I mean, we don't even know, to be fair, what would happen.
I read something, I don't know how true it will be, I guess we may never know. It sounded really ridiculous to me, but also kind of cool and sci-fi, is that they think that black holes might be like mirrors into the history of the universe. Oh, so if you actually flew directly at it and you didn't get pulled in, you could actually watch it and it would show you like the greatest hits.
Oh, Oh.
It's like a cinema. It's like a
Yeah,
cinema.
but wouldn't it be the only bits from like that where that black hole is? So you'd be looking at space, going, "Oh,
I don't know because
nothing's happened.
You don't.
Everything's still black."
You don't know what sort of it's a kind of reach. If it's like say like it's Sauron's eye, you don't know how far its reach is. You don't know if it's 360 degrees. So, or whatever, you know, you can't, however you would measure that in space, it wouldn't be 360 degrees, would it? But
there's 4 dimensions in space.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So it could measure everything up to the next black hole.
Yeah.
And it could be recording the entire history. I mean, I wouldn't like to sit there and watch the entire history of the universe.
I've got time for that.
In that sector.
I haven't got time for that.
But how cool of a theory is that?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, is it's always constantly adapting new theories. I think it's a little bit ridiculous, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of, I think, when you debate stuff we can't currently measure because the science isn't there, or we can't collect any form of evidence because the science isn't there, then it's good to debate it and try and find out. But I do honestly believe that things that happen in the world kind of point to there being some sort of unexplained energy within, more than there not being.
Well, that's say more. Yeah, like man, that's your opinion, man.
Yeah, it's like when you hear these sort of things where like parents and stuff, their kids stuck under a car, and you can explain that with science and say adrenaline, but adrenaline can only give you so much of a pump. If you're like a 50-kilo woman and you're lifting a car like 10 times the size of you,
or the back end of a car.
Yeah, even if
the front end of a car.
Yeah, I've read stories of like a mom lifting it with one arm while she pulls a kid out with the other.
Yeah.
You know, that's like physically impossible. Like most scientists would be like, that's not possible. So maybe it is just untapped biological potential. Maybe it is just something like that physical, or maybe it is something to do with the mind, and it's not an energy. But I do think it's some sort of energy that kind of it helps power us. Yeah. It helps give us. And I think that's why we are, as is maybe more powerful than say animals, and that is how we're able to be sort of such complex thinkers, how we're able to think complexly about philosophy and life. And I mean, it's not.
We've always struggled for meaning as human beings, as a species.
Yeah.
Hence why we invented religion, because it's like, well,
it was easier to explain that.
We don't know where the sun goes at night, so. God does it.
Yeah, it's easier to explain that away.
And now we've got to sacrifice 300 people a day so the sun comes back.
Yeah, why is it with the human sacrifices? Why do we always go to that?
It's because I suppose it's the most valuable sacrifice, isn't it?
I don't know, there's a lot of us.
Well, I'm that.
Yeah.
But also, remember, you're probably sacrificing prisoners of war as well, aren't you? So it's like you're not sacrificing your own people unless you really have to.
I don't know, a lot of sort of tribes used to sacrifice virgins, didn't they?
Well, yes, but I mean, I think they'd have gone for prisoners of war first.
Yeah.
Anyone they sort of captured in raids and skirmishes and things like that.
That would make sense, yeah. But
and also, it wasn't just to fuel the sun. They would in Britain, the old Druidic faith, they'd use that captured person's death, the spasms, the blood splatter, the way their guts fall out to determine the future.
Yeah,
they would get auguries from that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I mean, now it seems a bit ludicrous, doesn't it? But back then it made sense to them, I guess. And I guess if we, like you said, we don't wipe ourselves out in the next 500 years, they're going to look back and think some of the stuff we did was crazy.
Yeah, they're going to look back at social media and go, ho ho!
Yeah, they were not ready for that.
Not ready for that, and we're not doing that again.
They do not know the long-term effects of internet addiction, phone addiction, device. We've talked about doing that at some point, haven't we? Because we've talked about any sort of person that has their phone, and we're not talking like old people, like your OAPs that just use it to call the grandkids, then they put it in a cupboard for the rest of the day. We're talking about normal people, people that have a device in their hand all day. We're all addicted to it, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we're controlled by it, and we don't know the long-term effects of that addiction. I mean,
that's why we're growing bloody things on the backs of our necks.
It is, yeah. It's why we're starting to get that rubber neck, that chicken neck, that extra roll on our chin because we're
always looking down.
Yeah, it is. And sort of like why my left finger, look at that left finger to that right one.
Wow, you're deformed.
Yeah, it's because you rest your finger on it, don't you?
Yeah.
And you get that little lump from where the phone forms. Well, I do anyway. I think
a little callus.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you have got an Android.
Oh yeah, the superior phone. But yeah, we can all agree that we don't know the long-term effects of that, and in 500 years' time, we're probably going to be like, wow, they were massively addicted to that. They thought that like smoking was bad.
Smoking is cool.
But yeah, like what, 50, 100 years ago, smoking was healthy for you.
It was. Got chest infection, here's 20 fags.
Which thinking now is like, why would someone prescribe you if you're struggling to breathe smoke? It's like, surely they'd been in a burning like area before.
Because real men smoke, Shawn.
Surely they.
Real men smoke.
It's like if you have like a fire outside, they would have had like fires in their homes back then. you know, if it kicks off too much smoke, you cough ridiculously. So why do they think putting smoke in their lungs was a good idea?
Because real men did it.
Real men did it.
Still do.
And real men didn't live to 50.
Yeah, exactly.
That was their slogan. You want to be a real man, don't live past 50. They get those smokes down you. But that's the thing, and I hope one day maybe science can prove some of the sort of things that we theorise and we debate, or at least the evidence points that way anyway. But that's what I believe. I do believe that there is some sort of energy, and I do believe one day maybe it will develop into something more. Maybe like the human being.
Evolution.
Yeah, well, and maybe they have psychic abilities, or they're able to do more things than we're currently able to do. I mean, human beings, obviously medical science has helped a lot, but human beings are a lot stronger now. World records are being smashed, like running, lifting. And is that because we're learning how to tap into that more? Is it science? Is it a combination of both? I think it's a combination of both.
Maybe. I mean, you do to get athletes who talk about being like referred to as in the zone.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
almost
I am like
find that inner focus.
Yeah, you are literally focused on beating that record, on lifting that weight, on running that fast. Nothing else around you matters.
Yeah.
So that could be someone tapping into that.
Yeah, and they talk about it. They're like, it's like no one was there. It was just them in the run, or it was just them in the lift. Nothing else mattered.
There was no audience. They couldn't see it. It's just like, I'm going to lift this. I'm going to run this. And I can see that. So my main handicap is that I am completely spiritually devoid. Yeah. I don't go for any of it.
If it's not spiritual, then if it's just some sort of energy,
I could go with the energy.
Yeah, maybe from space or from
the universe. Maybe there's energy swirling around us right now.
Yeah, maybe there's like energy that we can't see that's all around us.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, I can't see it.
Your only problem with that, and this is going to make you really angry now, is that's what a lot of psychics believe. Ugh. And you hate psychics. Yeah. They believe that there's that sort of untapped energy everywhere.
They're all just all fakes, though. Yeah. You know,
we have to do that video because I want to really annoy you about that. Because I know how much you hate psychics.
They should all be tried. They should all be tried under the Fraud Act or Witchcraft Acts.
Yeah, maybe somewhere in the world there is a legitimate psychic.
Maybe
there's just tapped into that next level of human evolution. Well, there's like Marvel, like the X-Men.
Well, there's that woman in Russia. I can't remember her name now.
The one that predicted all the stuff, and some of it
allegedly
true.
Predicted all the stuff. Yeah.
It's like,
but then it's like Nostradamus.
Again, though, it's the same argument I used earlier. How can you prove that? She can't prove it, can she?
No.
It's, just because a bunch of people say it and there's a photograph of her holding, say, newspapers and stuff when she said it, you can doctor that.
Of course you can.
Yeah, we're supposed to believe that.
Photos aren't proof anymore.
Some people keep newspapers for years. They keep piles of them in their house. You just dig out that newspaper and hold it.
It's true.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I think that's pretty much the end.
Yeah.
I'm spiritually devoid. I don't go. I might lean towards the energy thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of certainly a religious aspect.
I think I came more prepared than you on this one because you were just like, nope, I don't believe in that.
Yeah, very much. It was my pig-headed refusal to look facts in the face. That'll see us through.
Yeah.
That'll see us through.
You're like, no, it's not true. Nope.
No, just nope. I'm not gonna look at it.
Yeah.
If I don't look at it, it doesn't exist.
Oh no.
If I don't see it, it's not illegal.
You're starting to sound like Tories. That's what they do. They're like, no, it's not true. It's not true.
Didn't see it. COVID, what's that?
Yeah. It's like the other day when you said you were talking to a Tory and you said about them selling the NHS, and it's like, no, it's not true.
That was my dad.
Oh, it was your dad, wasn't it? That was it. Yeah,
no, never gonna happen.
The article's right here, Dad. Read it.
Yeah, I can literally show you the article. There you go. It's on the BBC. This is apparently the one news service you do trust. No, don't want to look. It doesn't happen.
It's not true. Fake news.
Fake news.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell.
Yeah.
I've been Ben. Thanks for listening. Don't drink the Flavour Aid and don't join a cult.
And I've been Shawn. Thanks for listening.
And good night.